James, you've been asking for it. Nay, begging for it.
What?
And
I mean, I beg for a lot of things, so
you have consistently asked for people
yes.
to write in with negative feedback, criticism, if you will. And we finally got our first piece of criticism.
I want a good balance of criticism.
You know what? I'm not thrilled about this, but I'm going to bring...
We got something bad. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
all right. What is
it? Is.
I can take it, man.
The issue that we have been told is that you have since grown a beard so far. Good stuff.
Thank you. I don't know if I can still yet call it a beard, but it does catch the eye of people as I walk past who know me.
As you were pouring the whiskey today, I was looking at you in profile and was like, who's that? Oh, no, that's James. I'm in his apartment.
Of course, makes sense.
Well, we got our first piece of criticism, and since you have grown out a beard...
I love that you keep calling it a beard. I just love it.
You no longer match the profile picture in our iTunes window.
For artwork?
Which, bear in mind, this isn't a bit. This was something that was actually told to me by your father.
Oh,
who we'll note is a barber and takes hair very seriously.
He does take hair very seriously, yes. And I take criticism very seriously. So here we are.
So what's the play here? This is a mess of your own doing.
Yeah.
Man. I was trying to stoke good vibes. And
should we shave?
You poke the bear.
Should we shave my face live on the air?
No. I would feel better about us going into Microsoft Paint and just...
So add the beard to our picture.
I mean, we could hit up Rachel Ashley, who did our amazing cover art, by the way, and ask her to put on a beard. But at the same time, I mean...
I'm going to go the work smarter, not harder route and just say, I don't care that it doesn't match.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what I have to say about it.
Is that smarter? I think that's just apathy.
Your apathy. I'm drunk.
Man, that insult was certainly harder, not smarter. Welcome to Trailer Hitch, everyone.
You can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Releases by the movie trailers. We're trailer hits. This movie might totally suck, but the whiskey sure is going down fine. Yeah, we're trailer hits.
Listen, enough about your face. You're long in the face just as we're long on trailers. We got plenty to talk about here tonight. We have The Irishman. We have 1917. We have The Lighthouse. We have Little Monsters. And we have a special Runaway trailer segment for you guys. We are going to be dipping into the back catalogs of trailers. Because as you all know, we tend to... got to keep our eye on the current. Keep things fresh.
Absolutely,
But sometimes in order to keep things fresh, you need perspective. And what do you do to get perspective? You look back.
You dwell in the past.
Absolutely. You stay there. You hunker down there.
Yeah.
This is Trailer Hitch.
Welcome to Trailer Hitch, everyone.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm James.
This is a trailer podcast in which we rate and review movie trailers. We rate them on a scale of need to see more, or never need to see. James and I both like a trailer. We give it a need-to-see rating. Go out, see the movie, report back to you guys in a segment called Trailer in the Review, where in which we review the trailer in retrospect and the film too. I had to burp the entire way through, and I want to note, because I'm a goddamn professional, I didn't do it.
You should have John Mulaney it. Just like, we're going to be talking about... Just take a breath,
I'm
Kevin.
not skilled enough of an orator. You'd be able to tell. But enough about my gastrointestinal troubles.
Sure.
This is a trailer podcast, and first, we are going to be getting into a teaser trailer. So this is the teaser trailer showroom segment, because teaser trailers, by nature, they're going to be need-to-see mores, just on the basis of their name. They're meant to tease. So this is the teaser trailer showroom. Think of it as a bunch of trailers in a showroom, and there's some jackass walking around being like, hey, do you need help finding anything? You have to keep pushing them away because you're just there to window shop, baby. You're there to look at the stickers in the window, see what the miles per gallon is.
Exactly.
Does this thing have Bluetooth? What? But it's 2019. How does it not have Bluetooth?
You love the Bluetooth angle every time we bring up.
It's because I don't have Bluetooth in my car, and I desperately want it.
It's a sore subject for you.
It really is.
I've never really grasped it until this moment.
Especially because I have an iPhone that doesn't have a headphone jack because I'm an idiot. I have, and this is the word for it, this is not slang, a dongle. Okay. I have a dongle that connects from the headphone jack into the charging port, and it just irritates me. I have a dongle splitter, James.
That's nice.
No, it's not.
So
it's embarrassing.
You want your trailers to have Bluetooth, which is why we go to the teaser trailer showroom
or dongles
to see if Irishman has Bluetooth, which it takes place in the 60s, so I'm gonna doubt it.
Let's have this trailer be the judge of that, James.
Hello?
Hiya, Frank. This is Jimmy Hoffa.
Glad to meet you.
I heard you paint houses.
No, please. No, please. Yes, I do, sir. Whatever you need me to do, I'm available.
Fuck me, nary a Bluetooth in sight. This is The Irishman. This is Martin Scorsese's...
Martin Scabes?
Martin scaled his way through the hills of Hollywood. I didn't have anything prepared for this. I was prepared to just walk away and do a retake. But no, here we are. I said I wasn't a good orator.
And retake, go.
Martin Scorsese's new film.
It's like you never messed it up at all, Kevin. Mm-hmm. Just kidding. I'm leaving all of them.
Fuck you. I have the last say in editing.
That is true.
So this is Martin...
Who gave you final cut?
This is Martin Scorsese's new movie. Written by Steve Zalian, and it is starring pretty much everyone from 90s, 80s, 70s mob flicks. We have our Robert De Niro's, we got our Al Pacino, we got Joe Pesci. Harvey Keitel might be in it. Hopefully he's in it. Otherwise,
not in the trailer.
Not in the trailer.
Not in the teaser.
I think I remember in the bullet casing teaser seeing Harvey Keitel's name. Eagle-eared listeners will also remember that we joked, we went back and forth about, well, I wonder if painting houses is a euphemism. And having seen this trailer, I'm going to go with yes. Just the way it's juxtaposed, it does make the impression that painting houses, murder. That's what's going on there.
Exactly. Yes.
Robert De Niro is an assassin, and he is being contacted, or should I say contracted, by Jimmy Hoffa.
How about both?
Yeah, I guess both apply. I really didn't need to correct myself there. You're leaving all this in, aren't you? All right, so Jimmy Hoffa hits up our boy Robert De Niro, the house painter, and asks if he is willing to help out with his campaign. I don't really know the true story behind this, and this is based off of a memoir, so I know a lot of this is based off of truth. But Jimmy Hoffa is trying to run for office, and that comes through when you see the car going through the car wash, and you see a Jimmy Hoffa bumper sticker that's meant to be like a campaign.
Isn't that... See, I don't know about that. I thought the bumper sticker said, "Where is Jimmy Hoffa?" Because the one thing I know about Jimmy Hoffa, which is one thing, I'm telling you, is from the movie Bruce Almighty, and it's that his body goes missing. Because in Bruce Almighty, they dig up Jimmy Hoffa's body, and it's like a big thing.
What I posit is that could have been his campaign slogan, "Where is Jimmy Hoffa? He's on your ballot, baby." And it could have just been terribly ironic considering his body went missing.
That's just great marketing. This is great campaigning right there.
Exactly.
I want his PR guy. I guess the bumper
do you want
sticker...
his PR guy or do you want his assassin? Because his assassin seems to be doing a lot of
Well, I don't know how life turned out for either his campaign guy or his assassin. So
fair. Well, he wrote a memoir, I guess, so things must have been okay.
It's a good point.
Anyway, I am kind of making the leap that Jimmy Hoffa is running for office just because there is a lot of juxtaposition or cross-cutting with the JFK assassination.
Yep.
And you see that registering with Robert De Niro's character as he's watching it on the TV. And in that particular shot, there's a woman sitting across from Robert De Niro. You definitely get the sense that as she's looking for him, she's thinking, fuck, he's getting ideas. And so that's kind of where I'm drawing my conclusions from. But to be fair, this is a teaser. And so for all I know, this is just your la-di-da, do-si-do mob pick.
Yeah.
What's so special about this? Oh, the guy who's directing it kind of made his bread and butter with these.
But also, what is so special about this one? Oh, they're de-aging all these, like, very, very, very seasoned actors, we'll say.
Good adjective choice.
Thank you. I didn't want to say older than dirt, but here we are.
But now here we are.
Here we are. I said it, and it's staying in. So they use de-aging on the actors here, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
What I like about it is how hidden they seem to keep Robert De Niro a lot of the time. The shot compositions are almost framed where you're only like seeing his profile. Maybe he's like far away, or maybe something's covering his face, like the phone receiver. And it's just kind of like, is this like the equivalent of Jaws, where Spielberg was just like covering it to create suspense the whole time? But really, it's because the effects aren't that good. My brain just went to that every time I saw.
I don't know Robert De Niro's character name, but I'm going to refer to him as Bruce for the rest of the review.
Yeah, Brucey. I think it was a solid trailer, and nothing like tripped me up of like, woof, that looked rough. You know what I mean?
Certainly the wham bam style you come to know with Martin Scorsese, I think more so comes through when you see the taxi cabs blowing up, then you immediately cut to the flashbulbs also popping, get it, in the courtroom, and then the camera does like sweeping shot through the courtroom.
Exactly.
That's really quick and fast paced, and I really connected with that.
And a very interesting sound effect that is reoccurring throughout the teaser.
Wow! Wow! I want it as my text ringtone.
It's
Bordering on self-parody.
but the sound effect is, the first time you hear it, it's jarring. But like once it like marinates in your brain a little bit, you're like, I think I liked that sound effect. I think that was good. I think it fits. And then it happens like 2 or 3 more times or 4 more times, and you go, yeah, that definitely fits. Thumbs up, Irishman.
Yeah, it's an iceboxer, though. It's something that you don't realize you like until you get to the icebox later that night. Yeah,
This is an analogy I've never heard in my life.
It's in the Picasso at the Pinot Gilles, Steve Martin. Read a book. So it's
Served.
But yeah, it's definitely not as immediately awesome
right.
as the Inception Brahm.
Right.
You know, like it's something.
It reminds me more of like It's. Like
sure,
that sound effect.
Yeah,
like
yeah. We're not doing a good enough job emulating it, or at least I'm not doing a good enough job emulating it.
I'm crushing it.
You did
so,
good.
Thank you.
But just for the listener at home, the best way I can describe the sound effect is it's like someone turned their shower on, but the water was far too hot, and they just like touch the water and wow, like they pull back. That is what's.
It's kind of the sound effect that Crash Bandicoot makes when he has one like Ubadaga mask, but he hits like a turtle and goes ow, and then the mask goes away. There's a lot of
No. I like the Crash Bandicoot thing, and I wish I knew the game better so that way I could work more Crash Bandicoot material to the Irishman.
Sure.
But
and just so we don't get letters, I know the mask's name isn't Ubadaga, but that's what I've always called it in my entire life. So
all right,
I'm going with Ubadaga.
Let's bite from this apple and just say how we're feeling about this right now. I would say I'm pretty interested.
Yeah, solid.
I think this is a very solid teaser.
As per the showroom goes, it's a need to see more for both of us.
Yeah, the fact it lacks Bluetooth, not a turn off inherently. All right, anyway, we're going to get out of this here showroom, and we are going to head to war. Damn it! Yes, we are heading.
What is it good for?
Well, we're heading. Don't even think about what's it good for, James. Think about what's it great for, because we're talking about the Great War, because this is 1917.
You have a brother in the 2nd Battalion.
Yes, sir. Is he alive?
But they're walking into a trap. Your orders are to deliver a message calling off tomorrow morning's attack. If you fail, it will be a massacre.
Don't know about you, James, but I like my history hardcore, so we're going to World War I here. This is 1917. This is directed by Sam Mendes, written by Sam Mendes and Chrissy Wilson Cairns. I'm apologizing if I'm butchering that last
Apology
name.
accepted on her behalf.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, this is starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Andrew Scott, Richard Madden, Mark Strong, Colin Firth. Our random shout out, because we hear our trailers, we like to give shout outs to random cast and crew members, because the top billed people, they tend to hog all the credit, and especially with a war movie, you want to let people know that there's more than 3 people in it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I am going to give a random shout out to Harrison Cope, who played the British soldier. Hey, Harrison, Good job, bud. You're in a war movie.
I hope he plays all the British soldiers.
How wild would that be?
He's like deep fake, and just that guy is every single British soldier in the movie.
And you just
it's an experimental film.
You get like the random like cheerio, cheerio as he like runs through the battlefield. But let's see if we like this trailer. All right, so this is 1917. This is, of course, set during 1968. I'm kidding. 1917 during World War I. Our opening is a general talking, or a captain, a high-ranked officer, talking to a soldier and saying, "So, your brother?" And the guy's like, "Is he still alive?" And the commanding officer's like, yeah. Well, here's the deal about that. So, your brother is going to be going and doing a mission with this platoon, and
they're goners.
Yeah, if they do that, they're going to all die. And if you can get there and prevent that loss of life from happening, including that of your brother, we might actually have a better shot at winning this war. And so then the trailer does in title cards, and we'll get to those title cards in a second.
Absolutely.
Get to the point that really the enemy in this movie is time. I would also counter, if we're going in that route, what about the bullets? And
or war itself.
War itself, really. But it does make a good point in that is what we're up against right now. We're not necessarily up against the other force. That's inherent. It's the time, and that's what's of the essence. We have a really good shot where, as these men are running into combat, our protagonist is running perpendicular.
Sideways, yeah.
Perpendicular to
like,
that.
Not exactly going against the stream, but
risking life and limb, for sure.
Absolutely.
While not running into the battle with them, he's running perpendicular, I would say more so to try and prevent more of this shit from happening. And by seeing the explosions behind him and the people falling, we get a good visual representation of why he's doing what he's doing. Sure, his brother's kind of involved in this too, but ultimately we're trying to prevent this loss of life from continuing further.
Yeah. Yep. That's a lot of basic plot stuff that we get. We do get some Benedict Cumberbatch monologuing a little bit in the trailer too. Yeah. I can tell you what he says though. Well, it wasn't very memorable.
It's a British period piece, so I just at this point expect Benedict Cumberbatch to monologue during it.
I would say the things that stood out for me in the trailer though were the letters that make up like 1917. I can't remember some of the other ones because
time is the enemy.
Yeah, because they're not the focus of the shot. It's a black screen where the letters are punched out in the black, and the footage from the movie is shining through, coming through from the backside.
Which I thought was a really neat effect.
It was, wasn't it? It's very...
I do think there is a pretty cool creative component to it of we're showing the impacts behind the word of time and enemy in 1917. Granted, does this interpretation hold up with is? Not really, but, I mean, the big ones, like the important ones, I think it does really add something to what you are seeing unfold in this trailer.
Yeah, I think it's really an effective way to symbolize that, and it's really cool looking, too.
Yeah.
That was kind of my biggest takeaway from it. Performances, sure, look good.
Yeah.
Plot, sure, it's a war movie.
Yeah.
Very... Saving Private Ryan with it comes to, like, we got to get this guy, but this one has a little bit more to it.
And it's brothers, because get it, every soldier in war is brother. You get it? You get it? You get it?
Yeah, but they're actually brothers, Kevin.
Oh, but I mean, the metaphor...
No, I don't think that's what they were going for.
The metaphor is not very clear, granted, but the metaphor is there nonetheless, I would argue.
You'd be arguing to no one, just yourself.
That's not true. I have a microphone. I would say that, the brother component is probably the thing that I'm kind of whatever on, because you can just have him go and save a bunch of people. Do we really need a personal angle to this? And I do understand, though, that especially in World War I, a lot of people drafted, and it could be whole families drafted.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it felt like kind of like a screenwriter's note of like, there has to be a personal connection here. And it's like, what if he's just a good person and doesn't want people to die? I think that's enough. But you know what? To each their own. Now, that said, I think something to wrap our heads around is, though the title effect is really cool with this trailer, I don't necessarily get the inkling that that style will necessarily come through with the movie, because the movie itself, as we said, is a pretty paint-by-numbers war epic.
Yeah.
Because of that, will we get elements of that style throughout the rest of this movie? And right now it's really hard to say. But I do think that is kind of worth noting, given that the style is what's really helping sell this. Right?
Shining through, man. And I like the style enough that it balanced it out to a very positive need to see more for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't, like, offended by the brother thing. You know, it's like a meth thing.
Yeah.
And there was a couple meth things that it was nice to have something that went, but that was really cool.
I think that's what I'm ultimately waiting for, is can we get that splash of style in the movie itself? Because I completely agree. Yeah, the brother thing feels pretty superfluous to me. It's hard because I think as a trailer, this is really good. So I will give this a need to see.
Oh, interesting.
Just based on the trailer, because I do think this is a very well-constructed and creative trailer. That said, the movie itself looks like a pretty hard need to see more.
Sure,
right now.
yeah, but yeah, I
the
understand.
way that this is assembled, I think, is really, really well done.
Excellent. Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, that is that one.
That is, yes. But speaking of the early 1900s, you know what else they had in the early 1900s, James? Lighthouses.
Did they, though? Yeah, they probably did.
They probably
yeah,
did.
Yeah, you're right.
Ship travel was much bigger.
Yeah, before Bluetooth.
Keeping secrets, are you?
No, sir.
Why just spill your beans? How long have we been on this rock?
Yes, we do have a movie by the seaside here, which is appropriate because this is total hipster bait. This is The Lighthouse. This is directed by Robert Eggers, who the general public and hipsters may know, the director of The Vivitch.
The Vivitch.
A few years ago.
Thank you for pronouncing it properly.
Thank you for realizing that is the proper pronunciation for it. You put 2 V's in your title. Fuck you. Anyway, this is co-written by Robert Eggers and Max Eggers. I'm assuming that's his brother. This is starring, all right, buckle up, folks. This is a long one. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and that's it. Our random shout out is going to go to Linda Muir, who was the costume designer. Hey, Linda, good job, bud. You costume designed a movie. And by the way, you only had 2 people to worry about, so I hope that this was honestly like a pretty chill job for you.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this is The Lighthouse, and this is hipster bait. Now, anytime we talk about Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, you're kind of my go-to guy, but we finally have what's pure and utter hipster bait. And
you said that like 4 times already. You tell us how.
You're looking at the beanie. You're looking at the glasses and everything.
Yeah.
So, all right, fine. I'll be your shepherd for this one. Hop on, everyone. So The Lighthouse is set in the olden days, and I'm making this presumption given how it is shot, which is black and white cinematography. On top of that, the aspect ratio is 4:3 by the look of it.
Yes.
Which is just a thing with hipsters these days. And for those wondering what's the deal with this, I don't know. But I do think that there might be a little bit more creative justification for it here, because it does
way more.
It does look like it is trying to emulate the silent film era. And I get this because so much of those shots are static. And they are approaching this from a cinematography standpoint like they had to back in the early 1900s because the cameras were so goddamn heavy. Mm-hmm. They just had to plop them down, hit record, and off you went. And that's sort of the approach that they're taking here. So,
and like some of the effects too are very...
The lightning in the sky,
the lightning, the lighthouse itself,
yeah,
far off in the distance at the very beginning of the trailer. Mm-hmm. I mean, those effects at least reminded me of like the old monster black and white movies from Universal, like those types of stuff.
Yeah.
So I am not a self-proclaimed hipster, Kevin.
Sure.
But I was all over this trailer. I was very into it, and because the style was just so well planned out and executed.
It's very well executed.
Yeah.
But
you can tell the vision is there. was there the whole time. Like,
so listen, I'm just going to pull the wool over everyone's eyes, even though I am disparaging it by calling it hipster bait. I'm hook, line, and fucking sinker with this thing, of course, because on top of that, we do get an interesting story that's portrayed in this trailer, which is that Robert Pattinson's character is new to the Lighthouse. He is coming to work, and Willem Dafoe kind of interrogates him a little bit. Why do you want to work here? And Robert Pattinson tries to just brush it off and say, well, a job's a job. And Willem Dafoe just, like, on a dime goes, you're fucking running from something. And that does appear to be the case, given that Robert Pattinson is digging shit up with a shovel, seems to literally be hiding something.
Scowling a lot.
He is holding a statue of a mermaid, and what significance this holds, we're not really sure. But it's pretty clear throughout the entire trailer that there is a distinct distrust between these two guys. And
but there's also
there's a lot of bonding
absolutely,
especially with the singing, which is used as our soundtrack for this, which I think works incredibly
and
well.
Drinking.
Yes, because halfway through it just sounds like these weird disembodied voices, and you're not quite sure what you're listening to in the moment, and especially when you get it with Robert Pattinson digging shit with a shovel, you're like, what the fuck is about to happen?
Exactly.
And it turns out it's just drunken camaraderie between the two.
But there's like someone, like, there's like a weird voice talking about spilling the beans or something. And that's like a sentence that gets repeated like a few times. And I'm just like, no, I heard that right the last time. I was like, did I hear that right? They're talking about spilling beans? I heard that right. Yeah, they're talking about spilling beans.
I also think it's worth noting, much like the Vivitch, the dialogue is period dialogue.
Yeah.
So the Vivitch, to a degree, was to its detriment because it was set in the 1600s. The characters spoke like the 1600s, and that was a pretty common criticism of the movie, was I couldn't tell what the fuck anyone was saying. And I think that that's totally valid, because there are points where I think that the attention to period detail would go a little too far sometimes. And though there is a lot of period detail in attendance here, I think what's nice about this is it's at least closer to our era, so it's still pretty easy to figure out and parse what they're getting at in scenes.
And also the visual style is just so unique that even if people wanted to complain, at least they might be distracted a little bit by how cool it looks and how unique it looks.
At the very least, you can get totally lost in that.
Yeah.
And get a taste of what it's like to watch a silent movie now.
That's not silent.
That's not silent. Yeah. That said, I do think now that we bring up the Vivitch, this is a really interesting progression in Robert Eggers' style as a filmmaker, because there was an immense attention to period detail, but obviously no cameras in the 1600s. There wasn't really a style to emulate there.
Absolutely.
But now that we're setting this in a time frame in which movies were a thing, he is going really hard in, well, not only am I going to hearken to the era with the clothes and with the dialogue and how the characters behave, I'm going to hearken back to the era through the film itself. And I'm going to use those classic monster movie visual effects, and I'm going to treat my camera like it weighs 6,000 fucking pounds. And I find that really interesting, and I'm really eager to see where this goes. And as of right now, I definitely think that there are some questions here or there. I do wonder if this trailer kind of gives something away, because there is a brief shot where you see a tentacle wrapped around a character's neck as he's about to punch someone. And I'm
that was just a flash of it, though, and I was like, whoa.
And bear in mind, it could have been like a hallucination, but I was really more vibing with the style and kind of seeing these two at odds, but then also kind of coming together in some ways, while still keeping each other at a distance and not fully trusting each other.
Yeah.
So I thought this was really cool. I've talked your ear off, though. What are you thinking?
No, I basically agreed with you most of the steps of the way. And they're bonding and they're coming together Maybe it's more of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, whereas the third enemy is isolation. So it's like, these guys don't like each other. But at the end of the day...
Who the fuck else are you going to talk to?
Instead, you could
You're just going to dig a hole is what you're going to do.
Either you can let the isolation and the other person eat at you at two fronts, or you can, try and make the best of a shitty situation. Now, we don't know how the tentacle monster gets brought into all this. I don't know how the enemy of the enemy of the enemy is your friend, but that remains to be seen. But it is interesting, though. It keeps things interesting by throwing the tentacle here and there.
Yeah, and it does appear as if the elements come into play too. You did get water crashing through a window.
They're ducking, they're like taking cover, and they look scared. It just looks so good.
And that's the thing too to kind of keep in mind if you are kind of hearing all this and thinking this seems like it's going to be too up its own ass. And to a degree, if this style is not your thing, totally legit. That said, it does appear as if there is some external conflict too, and kind of like strange and out there external conflict at that, and in a way that I think really does play well into the era of filmmaking it's trying to emulate.
Agreed. Should we say it together?
And a 1, and a 2, and a...
Need to see it! Hey! And cheers, Kevin, to that. This wasn't... You were sitting right next to me when I was watching it for the first time, and it ended, and I'm like... I didn't want to give it away, how much I liked it in the moment. So I tried to, keep a stone face on, Kevin. I don't know how well I did, but...
I honestly thought that I was going to be defending this as we came on to the...
Because it ended and I very much was like, okay, there's that one. Let's watch the next one. But no, I just wanted to save it for the episode because I loved this, man.
Yeah, me too, man. All right, now that we're done talking about the monsters at the sea, let's talk about the little monsters, shall we?
Lieutenant, sir. It's zombies again.
Fast ones or slow ones, sir?
Slow.
Stop the tractor! Are you okay? Yes! Who remembers how to play tag? Well, those funny-looking people out there are it. We have kids out here!
Oh my God! I don't give a shit.
What are we doing? We're scared. What's the song we can sing?
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
My job is to keep you safe.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
How do you like it, huh? Oh, God, what have I done?
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Little Monsters is directed by Abe Forsyth, also written by him. This is starring Lupita Nyong'o and Josh Gad. Our random shout out is going to go to Ava. Oh no, why did I pick someone with such a hard last name?
You have to power through it.
I'm powering through it. All right. Our shout out is going to be Ava Karyophilus, who plays Beth. Hey, Ava. Good job, bud. You're in a movie.
That sounded like a seamless pronunciation, Kevin. Good job.
I was so scared the entire time I was doing it. But the kids aren't. And in order for me to... let's rationalize this for a second. Let's get into what's going on in here. So... Little Monsters is about the zombie apocalypse. It's upon us.
Again.
Because the military, when they hear her, they just kind of shrug it off and go, fast or slow? Slow. Okay.
Well, at least it's the slow ones.
Exactly. And then they go off to...
It could be worse.
Whilst, simultaneously, we have a group of kids are on this field trip. Everything is great and it's exciting. Then all of a sudden, teacher notices that there's fucking zombies everywhere. And she panics, and she runs back, and then she is met with these smiling faces of all of her kids, who ask, is everything okay? And she goes, yeah! And she has to try and pretend that everything that's happening is normal, while also trying to save them.
Yes.
And that is the general conceit of the movie. My initial concern, once it became clear that that was the conceit, was, this seems like a really funny idea for like 20 to 30 minutes. Is this going to sustain for the entire trailer? And by extension, the full 90 minutes.
Right.
The answer is, at least with the trailer, yes, my attention was definitely held. And I think what helps is the person who was doing the sock puppet shit while they were there, played by Josh Gad, is enormously selfish, and it makes for an interesting contrast between Lupita Nyong'o, who is so desperate to try and keep these kids' disposition sunny that she is willing to say, oh, zombie apocalypse isn't happening outside. They're all just playing tag out there.
Yeah, they're it.
Yes. Hey, everybody, let's sing a song. And she plays If You Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands, while her dress is just stained in blood.
Yeah.
That's the sort of movie this is. And I was pretty taken by it. Now, in terms of the trailer itself, I will say right out the gate, though that cold open of, well, are they the fast or slow zombies? As soon as I hit that line, I started laughing. I was like, oh, that's really fun. But then once I saw the entire duration of the trailer, that quote-unquote cold open for the trailer did kind of feel at odds with the rest of the material.
Well, it's almost like it's got, these are two very separate storylines that are going to, meet eventually, but they do seem different, like in tone.
Bear in mind, something that I think is cool about this particular concept is we are taking a character who would probably be eaten in the first 5 to 10 minutes of a normal zombie film, right? Like the teacher of a classroom gets eaten as the kids scream, and then we cut to our actual heroes doing shit.
Yeah.
No. She is now your hero. And the fact that she is trying to keep these kids innocent through the zombie apocalypse in of itself is entirely heroic. It does make for an interesting story, but that said, I think the transition could have been a little smoother getting us there. Even if it was just these guys on the road saying, oh, slow zombies, that's not so bad. You see a bus whipping by, we now are in that bus where Lupita Nyong'o and the kids are. Like,
sure.
And bear in mind, I know this is kind of Monday morning quarterback, and maybe that trailer editor did everything they could to make that transition seamless.
Exactly,
but, yeah, as of right now, it just kind of came off as jarring.
I see where you're coming from. It didn't bother me. Sure. And once you said it, like I'm like, yeah, those points are valid. They do seem like different in tone. But you see this military angle, which kind of makes you a little bit instantly familiar with zombies. They make a joke out of it, and then you're thrown into what we don't normally get with a zombie movie. So I kind of liked that crazy hard cut to... And now for something completely different in the same universe that's happening. I thought that was fun. Because in a world filled with zombie movies, 8 times out of 10, I'm saying, man, I'm just tired of zombie movies.
Of this,
You got to do something different to get people's attention and then keep their attention for the full 2 minutes. And I think this one did a good job. And it being a comedy, it has that other challenge of also trying to make you laugh.
Yeah.
And I did laugh out loud, I think at least 4 times. That's a lot for a trailer.
For 2 minutes, yeah.
I think Josh Gad is going to be a scene stealer. I think Lupita Nyong'o just looks hilarious,
She's
but
so
also just so calm and sunny. Like you said, the sunny disposition.
This is, I think, the first thing that I can recall seeing Lupita Nyong'o in where she's going for a laugh. And fuck yeah, she can do that too.
Yeah.
She's really talented.
Yeah.
And Josh Gad is going against type, and instead of playing what the normal sunny character, who I think he is kind of known to play, he is a fucking dick in this movie, and he's doing a pretty good job at that, too.
I mean, like, his voice that he has at the very beginning, it's like, oh, it's just like he's doing his Olaf voice. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, his turn was, she's like, we have a bunch of kids out here. He's like, oh, I don't give a shit. You think for a split second he's going to be like, oh, the kids, of course. And he's like, no. And then he bites a zombie.
He bites a zombie,
which was hilarious. And he goes, how do you like it? And then instantly goes, what am I doing? I don't know how you contract this.
I was pretty taken by this trailer. Yeah. So for me, this is a need to see.
I have one qualm with it.
Go for it.
As you know, I am a big fan of Zombieland. In the opening of Zombieland, their whole shtick is the credits popping up and then slow motion, either zombies or people running from zombies.
Yeah.
Breaking through the words of the credits, like directed by.
Yeah.
But someone like runs into the D and then the D goes spinning away, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
this trailer also had that little kid dressed as Darth Vader just like breaking through words, and then the words fall apart. And I'm just kind of like,
this is derivative.
I mean, it would be one thing if it were just like another comedy or another movie.
Sure.
It was another zombie comedy that came out in the last 10 years. I don't know if it's supposed to be an homage or if they just it was a coincidence. I don't know. But it just was, the second I saw it, and I only watched the trailer once, but the second I saw it, I'm like, well, that's stolen from Zombieland. Not enough for me to go any lower than a need to see it, though, Kevin. This is another need to see it for me. So 2 double need to sees. Mm-hmm. We are crushing it today.
We're being super positive about things today. What about things from, say, 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago, James?
We've done it a couple times in the past where, hey, we did an episode where we talked about our favorite trailers of all time.
Yes.
So we dive into the past. We talk about what made those trailers great, what's different about it, what might not work these days. And just recently, a remastered version of the very first teaser for Spider-Man from 2002.
The Sam
Raimi's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. They released a remastered version of the teaser. Now, this is a big deal because this was a teaser that premiered before 9/11, so it heavily featured the Twin Towers.
Yep.
And it did the job it needed to do. It got people freaking hyped for Spider-Man. Then 9/11 occurred, and they pulled that teaser from everything and then just like swept it under the rug.
Which, for anyone listening, just in case we have younger listeners who might not remember the effect on pop culture that 9/11 had, aside from the fact that there were way too many Muslim terrorist bad guys for a while, was a thing where if you made something within like the 6-month span after 9/11 that featured the Twin Towers, that scene was getting cut. I remember a video game being pulled from shelves, and it was like a basketball game because it had the Twin Towers just in the background, because it was set in New York. Like, it was a no-go to have the Twin Towers in anything for at least a few years.
So it was pulled and it was hidden away, essentially. Yeah. And as technology progressed and we became very interested in, more focused on watching everything online and stuff like that, it just never got remastered and uploaded. And it just recently did. And I was able to watch it in full for the first time since, I think it was probably 2001 that it premiered. I just wanted to talk about it and like, how does it hold up? Is it still cool? Because this Spider-Man is one of my favorite movies. Like, I lost my mind as a kid.
Oh, I love that first Spider-Man movie.
And it was the hype leading up to it, and then even like leaving the movie theater, I was just like, holy crap, my life has changed after seeing that movie. So it was really cool to rewatch this one, and it looks great. There are things that don't look good in it. Some of the compositing of effects are kind of rough at times.
I think that's fair. I think that this does really heavily employ a lot of quick cutting, but specifically quick cutting on close shots, like close-ups of, and inserts too. Like if someone like whips a gun out, like you're just getting the image of the gun, then immediately cut to someone screaming, immediately cut to the gun being fired in there, immediately cut to, and immediately cut to, and immediately cut to. And so that beginning robbery sequence, because that's how it opens, is it's a bank robbery. And it does get pretty jarring in its edits. But something I will say to the positive of it is if you pause those, all of those shots look like comic book frames. Like most of the time they are close-ups, and it's not like there's movement within the shot itself. And it's meant to emulate what it's like reading it as a comic book. And even what scans as generic dialogue of once the bank robbers are getting away, they're like, that was like taking candy from a baby. But to be fair, that's something you would have read out of a Spider-Man comic in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So it does work in that context. And how the Twin Towers are heavily featured is these bank robbers are escaping via helicopter.
From the roof of the bank, yep. They get away.
They get away scot-free, everything's good. Then all of a sudden their helicopter stops, is whipped back, and suddenly they're caught in the air and no one knows what to do. And then we pull back and it turns out that they're caught in a spider's web, which is in between the two towers.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
And from there, we get our Spider-Man. Yes. Just a shot of Spider-Man with the reflective lenses as he's looking on at the Twin Towers, and he shoots his web and he swings. The web swinging looks great in this. The music is so early 2000s, late 90s. It's so awesome.
It is very early 2000s. It's like... Seems like this.
Yeah, it was awesome. It took me a trip down memory lane, but it was also like, I was still able to look at this objectively from like 2019 goggles and go, there's some like solid stuff in this that like holds true.
Yeah, I do think that this is a really effective teaser, and especially for its time. I know you and I have kind of gone back and forth and joked that the reason why we haven't really looked at older trailers is because a lot of them suck. Trailers as an art form wasn't really a thing until the past, like,
20 years.
10. Yeah,
well,
maybe we can be liberal and say 20 years.
Yeah, even the 90s had some good trailers.
Sure.
So, we're going on 20 years now of trailers not only being an art form, but also just constantly adapting and evolving.
I think you watching it now, I think if you're old enough to remember commercials from the late 90s or early 2000s, this definitely feels like a Go-Gurt commercial in certain points. Like you do,
or a Gushers.
A Gushers specifically. Yeah, you do expect someone to say radical at some point as he's robbing the bank. But that said, I do think that it's great that they did a 4K remaster of this to get like a little piece of movie trailer history kind of back into the purview. And now this isn't really the stuff of legends. And I ultimately think that it's good that this was restored, not just to kind of have the first teaser for fucking Spider-Man. Like the thing that effectively, I know like obviously like Iron Man was the thing that kick-started Marvel, but like really Spider-Man was the first movie I remember growing up that was a comic book movie where it was like, oh wait, and it's really good.
Box office wise, Spider-Man is what made studios look at it and go, oh, we got something here. Like we're on to something. I think X-Men, they were still trying to figure out how they could make money off of it.
You can do this, but only if you take Brian Cox with you. So I do. I think that it's really cool that they put out this remaster.
Yes, need to see it. I might go just go watch Spider-Man 2002.
I think I see the DVD from over here. Well, while you're queuing that up, we are going to take off. This has been our episode, but before we go, we have ways in which you can continue to listen to us if you enjoyed this episode. So,
can you stall any longer, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the fucking thing, man. So, if you enjoyed this episode, you can continue to listen to us on iTunes. You can find our entire catalog there. Please rate us. Please subscribe to us. Please give us a review. We did already start this episode with negative feedback. If we can balance it with a few positive ones, my poor heart.
Preferably on our review
my poor heart can
trailers.
Only take so much.
Yeah. My poor beard can only take so much before I shave it off.
No, don't. Your girlfriend likes it. Fiance. I don't know. Whatever you
nice.
Call it. Anyway, you can also listen to us on Stitcher if you have an Android phone. You can find our entire catalog there. You can also find us on YouTube. You just search Trailer Hitch Podcast on YouTube. We have our channel. Our entire backlog is up there.
That's right.
Feel free to rate and subscribe and leave comments if you want to leave feedback that way. But speaking of feedback, a really good way to do that is through our Facebook. If you search Trailer Hitch Podcast, you can find us on there.
Yep.
You can request trailers for us to review. You can comment on anything we reviewed today. What did you think of the Spider-Man reboot? Do you think this held up like ass? If so, you are more than welcome to tell us there. Or if you want to keep that missive, say 280 characters long, you can do that on Twitter at Trailer Hitch Pod.
We're on it all, baby.
But if you want to make this visual, baby, if you want to send us a picture with your thoughts, you can do that on Instagram at Trailer Hitch Podcast. Or if you want to send a long missive, or I guess you can send short ones there too. If you're just more comfortable with email, it's easier to get away with that work. You can send us an email at trailerhitchmailbox@gmail.com for any thoughts. Otherwise, before we go, we would like to thank a few people. We would like to thank Danny Schmitz from Lost in a Name for the amazing intro song that you hear. We'd like to thank Rachel Ashley for the amazing cover art that you see on iTunes through all of her various social medias. We know it's not up to date because James doesn't have a beard on it, but we're proud of it anyway, and we're proud of Rachel. You can find her work at Mighty Creations on Instagram. We would also like to thank Jenny Hawks, our intrepid social media and bad movie correspondent.
That's right.
And we would like to thank Casey Clowers, who made the amazing outro, which you'll hear in just a moment, unless James has something to add.
Nothing at all. Yes, correct. Nothing at all. I got nothing, Kevin.
One of these days, you'll have something.
I doubt it.
You can't mount holy sails without a sailor stitch, and you can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Oh, do you want me to put it in the fridge then?
No, it's gonna go in the oven. Why don't you just put it in the oven?
You're gonna forget about it.
I'll remind him.
Am I running the dishwasher?
Yeah.
Right on there that the pizza's in the oven.
Okay. The pot is already in there.
Huh?
Just gonna say work smarter, not harder, but it doesn't really apply to the situation because Jenny did all the work.
Delegate smarter, not harder.
Very true. Come here, Mark.
Are we still testing?
Yeah, we sure are.
Oh, good.
We have you delegating to your fiance on record.
I'm just gonna shut this so then I can go and get some.
Yay!
Did I make it?